Good morning. Alright, let's get these tires and mirrors attached to the bus. So we'll start with the tires. So I see we've got everything's kind of working at the moment, right? It all stays together, and you've got this cool control here that steers the wheels. That's cool. So we want to make sure that when we're kind of squashing and stretching or twisting or whatever we're doing here, all of this stays together, including the tire control, the individual tire control, because that needs to or should move with the tires as well. So we're going to start by just going into our hierarchy here. So let me just open this up. So we've got our don't touch, and we've got our tires. There's the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we got these different tire groups. So we'll start by connecting the tires first. So we're just going to select the locator, select the corresponding tire, and then constrain. And we're going to do a point constrain. So it maintains the translation position, but rotates with everything else that might need to rotate. And because it already currently moves with the overall bus, that'll all stay connected the way it is. So it'll still move with everything. So we just want to make sure under the point constraint, maintain offset is turned on. That way it's not going to snap to in a different position. There we go. It didn't move. Everything's good. We can test it out very quickly. Now it's going to get some weird behavior because we still have to connect the controller, which you've connected through a constraint. So it's going to move like this, which is cool. Sticks to the ground. It's kind of ideal, actually. But if we wanted to move 100% with this, then we probably would want to move this as well, because if I move this, you can see that then it's going to slide up and down as this is moving. Now, in an ideal world, this is actually perfect, though. I'm almost thinking, well, maybe we should just keep it like that, where it's kind of stuck to the ground. It all stays together, which means that this guy only needs to be constrained in X for it to move with the bus. Because I was thinking we could get it perfectly connected where this gets constrained to X, Y, and Z. So let's just do that, and I'll show you what I was thinking. So the controller, now this is connected directly under this guy, which means I can't just constrain this. Well, I could just constrain it, actually. But if I do, then I won't be able to just manually move it around if I wanted to have a little bit of offset. I would just really be only able to rotate it. So so what I'm going to do then is group this to itself. So I'm going to copy this guy's name, Control G. Maybe I'll center the pivot on that. Center pivot. And let me paste the name. And change that to group. There we are. I'll do the same thing for this guy too. I'll do both front tires for this video. So Control G, Control V, and just change that to group, and the L to an R. There we go. And then again, same thing. So I'll just select this guy, select the group, constrain, and point. Maintain offset is on. So now this is going to stick and move 100% with that locator, which is fine. Now, this is coming off the ground, though, which is not quite what I wanted, right? Because when it squashes and stretches, the tire should stay on. So what I would probably do is go into your squash deformer and just raise this handle up just a bit, just so that those tires remain on the ground, something like that. So that way when I'm doing this here, it's going to stay relatively in this same spot here. Let me just go to the top, and okay, it is rising just a bit. Let me see here. You know what? It's not quite on the ground there. So let me fix this. So go back to that squash deformer. I'm just going to move it to a point where it's in alignment with the other tires. There we go, something like that. That'll be better. So now it's going to always, yeah, it's always going to stay on the ground there, as you can see there. Cool. And in that case, you know, I think this approach works, right? I was just worried that this is going to come off the ground and everything, but that actually works pretty good. All right, so I'll just do that for the other tire. And then the back tires would be exactly the same thing. So again, what we want to do is select this locator, select that tire group, and then constrain point, maintain offset. And then we're going to grab this guy. Okay, so we're going to select this guy, that group, and same thing. There we go. So now we've got both of these working. And because it's only a point constraint, you know, everything stays together, right? So if I select this, everything stays together. But your steering still works as well, right? So all that still works too, right, for both wheels. And let's just make sure it's working with the other. Cool, yeah, that works really well, right? Because we want those to stay relatively straight. That works good. And if we want it kind of twisting off the ground, we could just rotate the entire thing. Or, you know, we could always just animate the tires. And that's what those tire controls are for. We can always just grab these and animate these if we needed to, right? Cool. Okay, so that was easy. Then, you know, it's just the same thing for these guys, so I might as well just do them quickly here. So again, same thing. So you select this guy, select the rear tire group, constrain, select this guy, and again, I'm just going to group it to itself, center pivot, group this guy to itself, center pivot, and just copy the name, group, and group. There we go. So again, I can just grab this guy, it's the left group, and constrain. And same with this one here. So we've got this guy, right group, and constrain. Cool. So now all of that stays together. It doesn't. What did I do wrong with this one? You know what? I didn't constrain the geometry there. So let me just zero that out. Yeah, I didn't do that. All right. So, and constrain. There we go. Cool. That's all working nicely. And that all stays together. And again, you can always just animate these tires if you want it rotating up with this or hanging down with gravity or whatever. If it's off the ground. That could be fun. Cool. And then the next thing are these mirrors. The mirrors are similar to what we did with the tires, actually. It's almost exactly the same. So we just got to find out where the nearest vertex is, and it looks like it's going to be right there. So I'm going to grab that guy, and I'm going to add a rivet to it. So constrain a rivet. There you are. And then we could just either connect this, like technically we just parent that, but you know what, we won't. Let me call this something. So I'll call this, this is the left mirror LC. That can go under our do not touch. And then we've got this guy. I'm going to group it to itself. Call this a group. Now, it'd be nice if it was the same pivot, but for now I'll just center pivot on that. But I could also just change the pivot here. Just using point snap. There we go. Doesn't have to be in the same spot, but it gives us some options. Alright, and I'm just going to grab this guy. I'm going to grab that mirror group, and I'm going to do a constraint. Now this will be a, I'm going to do a parent constraint this time. So constrain parent, and that way it's going to translate but also match the angle through rotations. Right? Oh, and what's going on there? Horrible stuff. Actually, you know what? Let's delete that constraint. Instead of a parent constraint, I think, you know, just a point constraint is all we need. So constrain point, maintain offset. And there we go. That's all we need. That's perfect. And it's not going to squish and squash with everything else, so it's going to maintain volume, and those little bits help sell the idea that it's still a solid object. And then same with this guy here. We just need to find a decent place to attach this guy. Is there anything nearby? Not really. I guess we could use this upper piece here. Yeah, there's one right there. Alright, so I'm going to grab this vert right here. Looks pretty good. Same thing. So I'm just going to constrain, rivet. There we go. And this will be our right mirror. And we're going to grab this guy, group it to itself. And it's going to be the right mirror group. Cool. And same thing, right? We just have to parent or point constrain that. So constrain point. And right there. We probably hide do not touch. That doesn't need to be visible. I'd also go through and hide all of your deformers. So all those non-linears are somewhere. Somewhere in there are the non-linears, so I would just hide those as well. There it is. Hide, so it's nice and clean. There we go, and all that now stays together and works. Good stuff. Cool, that looks cool. You could even have a controller for this, you know, just maybe pivoting from here so they can get a little bit of rotation and stuff on there if you wanted to. But again, the pivot should be, you know, should be from here. And you can have just a little bit of vibration or rotation on these guys when he's driving around. That could be cool. All right, so that's that. Short and sweet. All right, take care. Bye. And stop.